You can literally just outwork 99% of anyone in your field. Zeke with the intro, and he did not enjoy that at all. Okay. So, it's like that Eric Thomas quote where he says, "You will not outwork me," in his whole rant. But the fact is, most people aren't willing to put in the work that is required to actualize their goals, their dreams. So it's actually quite easy or quite simple to outwork those people, because a lot of the time they will do what they think is the work, and then and they won't do it consistently or enough, and then complain about not getting the results that they didn't work for. And so most of the industry aren't willing to show up. So you shouldn't compare yourselves to them, because a lot of the time it's easy for us to go, oh, this guy's doing this and he's doing so well. Oh, I think this, my competitor or people lateral to you, they must be doing well, so I should copy them. But being on the other side of that, seeing all of the people that are actually in business, most people don't actually know what they're doing, and they don't have a good handle on it, and they're not willing to do what it takes. So more often than not, they're not doing the right things. So I'd highly recommend, straight out the gate, don't copy them. Otherwise, it's like following the blind. That's why 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. 90% of coaches fail in the first 6 months. I feel like that 90% rate is pretty common. I'd go so far as to argue it's actually 99%, because the other 9% or so that kind of make it, they're just kind of sticking around a lot of the time, and they're not really excelling, which is what we want to do. So what I would say is, you have to be mindful of, yes, you can just put in the work and you can brute force it and just like bulldoze people through that sheer force of will. What I'd recommend to add to that as well, because we're not going to focus on the negative, we're going to focus on what to actually do to make these things happen. What I would recommend is to add that with being intentional. So yes, you can work hard, but hard work will only get you so far. If you can work smart and work hard, which is being intentional, essentially, then you're going to go way further, and you'll make more progress in the time that you could have just been bulldozing your way through stuff. You can be smart about it, you can bulldoze when you need to, and yeah, you can just like sheer force of will things when you need to, like to run through a wall, or if there's a little hole in the wall, you can go through there, because someone who's been there before might know the way, might have already bulldozed through that wall. I'm talking about mentors and that now, essentially how they'll help you through the wall because they've been through it. They've maybe bulldozed that wall, so they're just like, oh hey, there's actually a hole that I made over here, and then you just go straight through. Analogy or metaphor. So it's I lost my train of thought. All that to say, it's important for you to combine the two, to not just put in a boatload of volume and work, but to actually be intelligent about it. To be intentional is a word that I use a lot, because when you do that, you'll actually end up going much further than you normally could. You can get there faster, and you can build a better foundation for your business, your life, using that side of things. Because full stop there. Because a lot of people say they're willing to do everything, but they're not. So they might be like, yep, I'll do the money side of things, and they'll make the investment. So even the people that are willing to make the investment, then they don't go the extra step of like, all right, I'm going to be all in and have absolute faith, even when I have the self-doubt or I'm a bit worried about things. I'm just going to keep working, keep showing up, and trust the plan, trust the sweat, as my brother likes to say. Because it's just they don't. So all you can do is, you don't have to complain about it, but you can look at it and learn from it and just be like, okay, let's not do that. You're sick. Let's not do that. Let's actually show up and do what's required. And yeah, but it is an intentional, it's a conscious decision that you have to make to be intentional in that sense. And every time you do that, it lays the foundation for the rest of your life. So like I was talking about before, that's why mentorship or coaching in any field is really useful, because a lot of the time when you get there, fantastic, you're a hard worker. So now we're focusing on practically what to do. So you're a hard worker, you know that you put in the work and show up for your business, create the life that you want to, but what does that mean? Like, what do you do with that then, especially if you don't know what you don't know? There's so much stuff out there for free. Of course, you could go and do it yourself. Chances are you probably already have taken some moves to make stuff happen. I'm just going to take the sweatpants off because I'm sweating. I was cold earlier, but then I started to get warmer and warmer. So, Zeke on the table. Zeke's on the table here. Whoa, dog on the table. So when it comes to that, like I said, mentorship will allow you and coaching will allow you to get there faster because a lot of the time you don't know what you don't know. So someone that's walked the path before can look back and walk you through it and just be like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like here, or this is what it was like. Look out for these things. Act this way. Do these things so that you can either avoid mistakes they've made or or just like build upon what they've already done even better, which is the goal, right? We want to always be improving whatever industry we're in or the lives that we're in. I feel like there was a quote I saw the other day, which is, it was about things that are often like, there's only half a quote, and there was essentially, the other half of this one is like, it's only a wasted mistake if you don't learn from it or something like that from someone else that's laid the path beforehand. Anyway, I've butchered that. So when you are willing to do that, you can even just, if you stop and think about it a lot of the time, you can Google key terms and that kind of thing, or you can just get someone to coach you, because even like a course and that kind of thing can be really useful. There are free courses and stuff like that out there. There are some really good ones. And then, Zeke just farted. But then, man, smelly. But then that will really set you up to do everything that you need to. And it's like, so step one is like the commitment. From 0 to 1 is the commitment. Like, yep, I'm all in, I'm ready. And then put your money where your mouth is, your time, your effort, your energy into, okay, I'm going to invest in myself, time and effort-wise, and money-wise as well. Then the next thing would be, okay, seek out the right mentor who's walked the path before or has helped others walk that specific path. And normally people advise like someone that's like 2 or 3 steps ahead. If they're the right person, even if they're like 20, 30, 100 steps ahead of where you want to go, I think they'll be smart enough to be able to walk you through it. Because a lot of the time you learn even better, and that's what helps you get further up by coaching others. Just like with martial arts, like I still do, but I used to do a lot more dedicated classes for, my connection. So I used to do a lot more dedicated classes by way of the martial arts side of things. And as a result of doing that and actually coaching, I learnt a lot more than if I were just training. Because a lot of the time when you reach back and you help someone else, you end up learning a lot more along the way, because it'll really solidify what you know. And you have to have a solid enough understanding to not just understand it for yourself, but know how to translate that into teaching someone else. So it's a separate skill to be able to teach, but through teaching you tend to consolidate your knowledge as well. If you've just popped in partway through this might not make a whole lot of sense. We're just talking essentially about if you're willing to do the work, be the right kind of guy, and just go after it and like make that life that you want. Having someone to guide you will help with that. Someone that will essentially hone your focus, help show you where to hone your focus. And that's someone that can keep their eye on the horizon, that has an idea of what the path looks like that you've walked before. Because a lot of the time we're so occupied with what needs to be done in the day-to-day that we'll just look to where our feet are and not where we're going. And then sometimes you don't know if you're actually going the right way, even if you're being as deliberate as you can be with those steps. It's like when they make skyscrapers, they have a plan. It's not like, we'll just kind of chuck some stuff down and put some bricks and some stuff on top of each other. You have a plan before you build something. And I would argue the man with the best plan is Jesus. God has the best plan. Yeah, buddy. All right. I think he might be sick of being on me, or does he want to lay on my arm? We'll see. Okay. Anyway, so the man with the best plan that you can entrust it to is God, and God puts people in our lives, community, and people with more knowledge to allow us to live better, more fulfilling, bonked his head, lives that take us in the direction that we want to go, that we're called to go. You gonna come up here, Timmy? All right. I swap dogs. So we got Timmy here now. Do another intro. Yeah, so that's just an important concept to grasp, because when it comes to, hey, I want to build my life that way, you've got to be deliberate about it, intentional about it, and I think it's always worth going all in. Like, even if you're not 100% sure where you're going to end up 10, 20, 100 steps down the line, if you're just all in, then you know at least you gave it your everything for the first and the next step, which is the guys I'm talking to here already. They understand this. So, yeah, it's just about putting in that right, intelligent work. Oh, so many people joining. Yeah. Oh, Timmy, look at all the people. Look at all the people. Yeah, the example that I was using earlier, I was filming some content earlier today with my guy, my camera guy, my editor, my videographer. Can I say I have one of those? Ryan. And we were talking about how a lot of PTs, I think this is one of the best examples, they think they're doing more work than they actually are. And this is true of any industry, really. This is why 90% of businesses fail. So we can just look at that and learn from their example. And we'll look at like what the 10 and the 1% do to actually succeed. Most of them, it's understood. It's a given that, okay, well, maybe it's not even understood amongst everyone, but you get in when you first start up at a gym and you're going to put in the hours. You're going to be at the front desk, greet people on the gym floor, go up, start conversations. And yeah, that's one. Most people won't even take that first step. They'll maybe do it once or twice every couple of weeks, twice a week at most, and then be like a few months down the line, where's everyone at? Why haven't I gotten any clients? They'll be like, I've put in so much work, but the fact is you haven't been consistent with it. So consistent, intentional work is a really big key factor in that success. And the intentional side of it comes in with if you can have a value-focused approach with that. And this is like, you can look at how that would look on the online side of things because, you can look how that would look online as well, is going up and having genuine conversations, genuine interactions with people and providing value if it is right to do so will play a huge factor, because just through sheer force of will, through sheer volume, you'll outdo most people. You got to keep showing up even when it feels like, oh, I'm not getting clients or anything like that. Because it's not about that. It's about showing up and creating a community, essentially. So when I started as a personal trainer, I use this example a lot, but I would be in the gym like around about 10 hours a day, sometimes 12 hours, just there greeting people, even when I didn't really have any clients. Or if I had one client, then I'd make sure I was out at reception, talk to the receptionist, greet people as they come in, build out that community. And it's not even like you're going like, oh, maybe this person will be my client, maybe this person will be my client, or the next person. Because then you get really desperate, you get that commission breath kind of thing. You want to just greet people, build out the community, build up trust and goodwill with people, because you might not even work directly with them. They might refer someone else to work with you, is a bit of advice I got before I started PTing as well. And that really helps. That intention, the pure, genuine intention goes a long way, because a lot of coaches, there's a difference between being awkward and like not really being a super social person and having the wrong intention. Because I know coaches that are awkward and like generally awkward and not really people. But that's a skill that you can build just by going up, saying hi to people. But it's different when even people that aren't awkward, when they have that agenda and you can feel it, like, oh, this person wants to sell me something. Like, this isn't, where's this going? Where's this conversation going? But a lot of the time, if you almost subvert those expectations. If you're talking to someone and then you don't sell them on anything, you're just like, oh, hey, just saying hi. I'm a new PT here. Just want to say hi, show my face around. What are you training today? Working out. And then if you're a bit more receptive to it, you can feel if someone's into the conversation or not. Some people just politely respond. Some people won't respond at all, especially online. But some people would just be like, yeah, it's cool. And then from there, you build a genuine sense of community and you allow people to opt in to stuff from that. And you can ask and you can offer people. But that's a big part of being intentional and having the showing up the right way. So basically, that's another example to highlight how you can do the sheer force of will thing. Show up 10 hours a day. You'll probably stumble upon some clients that way. The gym might flick you some leads. Quick note there is never depend on an external source to get you leads. I really don't think that's the way to go, because it's like you're setting your intentions in the wrong place. I've seen many a business fail because of that. When PTs, for example, say, the gym's not giving me any leads. Dude, don't give them that power. Just see all the leads that the gym gives you as a bonus. And even online, if you're like putting out an offer, why is no one opting into this? Dude, like no one owes it to you to do that. You need to work more. You need to work harder. You need to work better, work smarter. And then you will start to get that down the line. But you've got to be willing to put in the right work. Because a lot of people now we're talking about, yes, of course, most of us can put in the work, keep showing up, get kicked in the guts and be like, oh man, I'm not really seeing any results yet, but have faith that it will pay off down the line. That's another part of having the right intention. But then going the extra bit to learn what you need to learn, to actually invest in things. And even if you're someone who can make it yourself, you'll do it better with a mentor. I'd say that so much, but I'm obviously biased because that was my path. Like I've had mentors along the way. I've been coached. People have shown me and helped me every step of the way, essentially. And I think that's a great thing to admit, because I mean, like even when I started Muay Thai from Taekwondo, I needed a coach. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. I couldn't tell, even though I had all of that experience in another martial art, translating it or learning the new skills, I needed a coach. So I had Coach Mike Muay Thai for that. And yeah, so when it comes to business and just life in general, if you can just keep showing up and have that right intention of being genuine and utilizing the skills that you need to. So not to the point of being like, I'm just being genuine. I'm not going to sell anything, because selling is not a bad thing. It's inherently good to be able to sell. Even selling people on yourself and them trusting you is a big part of life. Yeah. So where was I going with all of that? Anyway, that's what you can do. So sheer force of will, you can do it. Just put in the hours and be objective about that. This is kind of what I was saying before. A lot of coaches will think they're doing more than they actually are, and they'll show up like maybe one Tuesday and then skip another day. But they won't do as much as they think. So if you can find a way to track and actually log how much am I really doing? How much effort am I actually putting in by way of the hours? It becomes objective when you track it outside yourself. Because when you're just standing there, if you don't look at the time, and this is getting into like perception of time and that, you can feel like time's passing by really slowly. But if you actually log it, not as much time will have passed as you think, or more time could have passed than you think. And same goes for when you're doing things to build your business. A lot of the time we can put in a day or two of hard work and then we'll just cruise for a couple of days, be like, I've been working hard every day this week, 2-3 days this week, and that stacks up. Because imagine you put in 2 out of 7 days a week. You're going to end up, that's like over 3 times more work that you could be putting in from a sheer volume perspective. And then if you make that intelligent, then that's even better. Yeah. So all that to say, if you can track your things, your work objectively, your intentional work, a lot of the time you won't know what you're doing, so sheer force of will help you develop the skill. And so if you can do that and pair that with getting some guidance from someone, if it's like, sometimes you have to understand when it's the right time for this as well. You have to have that discernment, which is why I do what I do. But some people benefit from free stuff. A lot of the time, most people will benefit from paid stuff, because when you pay, there's just a subconscious thing I think is largely due to the relationship that we have with money that gets you more invested in the thing itself. So there's that next level of commitment. Some people can take free stuff and run with it, but eventually even those people tend to do even better when you pay for something and you go boop, 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 for the right thing. That is not just, it's not pay to win. It's, so I'm not saying that. It's not just pay to win, but if you can find the right people, then they will be able to help you and you get the results along the way whilst learning. I think that's one of the biggest things is you have to be willing to learn and like develop the skills and have the internal side of things yourself, because that's where I see businesses fail a lot of the time is if they depend on something external, like, oh, I'll pay 5,000, 10,000, 2,000, however much it is to someone to do my advertising and marketing. A lot of the time, some of those people don't know what they're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you're kind of just burning money. And you do need those skills to make the most of those situations. So right people, right intentions, the right work ethic. So work ethic, yes, it's huge. But then if you can pair that with being intentional, getting around the right people is another big thing. So even like, I'll continue with this as well. Even a lot of the time with paying to get into masterclasses or mentorships and that kind of thing, a lot of it can just be about getting access to the right people, not to be like, hey, I'm going to sell you on something, because I know that people do that and I don't think it's right. Unless it is something that is designed for that. Otherwise, you're just taking advantage of people in a bad way. But it's paying to get into the right spaces, because you have to understand when you're starting out early days, or even like the level you're at now, when you want to get to the next level, you're not inherently as valuable as the people at the next stages. So like one of the simplest ways to get in is pay your way in to develop the skills and then get to that level and then keep going up and up and up. So that's an important thing to understand, is because some people tend to think they're inherently valuable. And yes, there is, like, I think to a degree, everyone has some passion. Their lived experience is valuable to a degree. But when it comes to actually skills and what you bring to the table, you can't expect people to want to spend time with you if you're like the B side in it. If you're going to like the A side, or someone who's top tier and you're like, oh, cool, I want to be around this person. You can't just expect to show up and they're going to want to spend so much time with you, because they're not really getting anything out of it. You're getting a lot, but they're not getting a lot. So there's that value equation as well, which is where a lot of people go wrong with like network marketing or networking and that kind of thing. They're like, instead of improving their own value, they're like, oh, because I'm in the network or like getting around these people, I'm going to become more valuable. You and me, let's connect and do stuff for free for each other and then become more valuable. And then you kind of just get like dudes who are like not valuable pairing up with other dudes who are not valuable and not really doing anything for one another. So I think it's important to pay your way into the right spaces. You don't have to always pay, but I think it's a big thing. It's almost like a hack, if you will, to do that, because if you do it the right way, there's like internal work that needs to go with that, like your deeper work by way of having the right mindset when investing with money and like removing the emotional side of things from decision making, especially when it comes to money. So if you can do that and essentially see these things as investments into yourself. A big thing about investments is, yes, you're going to learn regardless from the opportunity. You don't want to make the same mistake twice. You want to learn from other people's mistakes, but it's like I know people talk about like betting and that this way, and I'm not a fan of that. But when you invest in yourself, it's like, don't invest anything you're not willing to lose, because that's just the way it works. Like, don't expect necessarily to see a dollar for dollar return. If you're going into something for that, then obviously the right thing, the right mentorship and all that, or the right whatever it is, will allow you to get that return. So it's not like, oh, forget about that completely. But you have to go in with that mindset of, I'm willing to, if I have to, learn what I have to learn because a lot of the times like people get burned by that kind of thing. So you have to, all that to say, I'll bring it back. Increase your value and you can pay your way into these things. So if you're already someone who can put in that hard work and you know that you'll show up for your craft and what you're called to do, I honestly think a mentor is a great way to go, because you're like, well, I'm going to make it regardless. That's one of the biggest things that you understand. So go all in, invest everything, like back yourself fully. All right. So I'm going to wrap that up there because my connection keeps dropping out. Anyway, that's all for that one. Embrace those facts and it'll be all gravy, baby.